talking about the current issues here in the Philippines and how it is affected by our ethics, not just as Filipinos, but as humanity. Let us talk about Ethica, Roots, and Resolve. This is PODCAST Podcast. And now, as we are here, let us welcome our guests from the CTE Department of Cebu Roosevelt Memorial Colleges, our BS Ed English 1A students. Hi guys!
Hello.
So how are you?
Hello. It's full of complex challenges and blessings, but I keep holding on. So anyways, thanks for asking us this one. I really appreciate that.
Okay, how does it feel to be part of the podcast for the first time?
Feels exciting and maybe a little nerve-wracking, but I'm happy to share my thoughts and be part of the conversation.
Okay, thank you so much. So, before diving into how morality affects the current issues we are facing right now, I want you to give some insights about what is happening in the Philippines currently so that we will be able to realize and connect the ideas of how these issues were greatly affected by ethics. Now, let us talk first about the environmental issues that we are facing right now, especially the Typhoon Tino and the 6.9 magnitude earthquake both happened in Cebu. And I know that there will be a lot you can say about it because we are all Cebuanos.
Good morning, by the way. So, the recent calamities brought us up to awareness and the truth. The 6.9 magnitude earthquake didn't just shake our homes, but as well as our lives. People have lost their jobs, leaving them confused about where they're going to start all over. Those who have been unfortunately greatly affected have had their loved ones fade in their arms, the homes that they've been working hard for, and the hopes that kept them from backing down. Tarpaulins can be seen everywhere, giving them our temporary homes. In the middle of the shaking Typhoon eventually transpired. From staying outdoors to keeping us safe from the quake, the only choice we had was to go back to our homes reluctantly. Supposedly, the typhoon would go together with the shaking. Thankfully, we're all safe in grieving the victims of the intense flash floods in Cebu. Thankfully, watching the situation online breaks our hearts even more. Looking at the bright side, these calamities united us once more. This is just God testing out our patience and courage. We just hope and pray that everything will end up great.
Yes, absolutely. The earthquake and typhoon revealed both our vulnerability and our resilience. The homes were reduced to tarpaulins and floodplain lights. Communities stood together, sharing grief and courage. These trials become more than physical challenges. They are spiritual tests about faith and patience. In the end, what endures is not distractions, but the solidarity and prayer that bind us, teaching us that even in the darkest storms, hope can rise.
Indeed, the calamities reminds us that disasters do not only destroy structures, but also shake the foundations of our lives, our families, livelihoods, and hopes. Yet, amid loss and uncertainty, we discover the strength of unity and compassion. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, therefore, we really can see the essence of bayanihan among Filipinos. Now, what about the issue of corruption? Like how threatening it is for you, Miss Calaza?
So, hello everyone. I would like to relate politics with the calamities we are facing right now. As we all know, we really have no control or knowledge of when a calamity will occur. But to speak truthfully, it wouldn't have been this worse if we had only good leaders in our country. There are several points that I would like to pinpoint. One of which is tax. Tax is an obligation for the upper and middle classes to help the victims of poverty. But because of their fascination with wealth, they all keep it to themselves. Greed is also a contributing factor which leads to this non-striving nation. Therefore, I can say that corruption in the Philippines is a severe, immediate threat that weakens the economy, erodes public trust, and puts communities at risk by diverting resources from essential services and compromising infrastructures, especially flood control and disaster resilience projects. Its impact is felt from stalled investments and credibility gaps in governance to tangible safety hazards when substandard works fail during storms and earthquakes, forcing ordinary people to pay the price twice. They pay in wasted public funds and preventable instead. The urgency is clear. We need credible investigations, transparent procurement, stronger audits, and whistleblower protections. And active civic oversight are needed now to restore accountability and protect lives.
I truly agree. What we are facing right now is dreadful. But how can we stop this?
I do believe we can stop them through our values.
Yes, it is the value. Why do you think it is, Miss Vinal?
For me, to prevent this country from ending up in this situation for the next generation, we must vote for worthy leaders who would never think of anything but the protection of goodness of our country. Because people's values shape whether corruption is tolerated, excused, or rejected. When honesty, responsibility, and respect for the common good are strong, people refuse bribes, report wrongdoings, and expect transparent systems.
Correct?
And when values prioritize loyalty to connections and personal gain over fairness, corrupt acts feel normal and even justified. Social norms matter too. If communities treat small gifts or favors as harmless, petty corruption grows into systemic abuse. If integrity is celebrated and rule breaking is socially costly, corrupt behavior declines.
Power distance and fear also play a role, where people feel voiceless or believe that they can do nothing. They stay silent, enabling impunity where civic courage is valued. Citizens demand accountability.
In short, everyday choices are rooted in values like what we praise, tolerate, or oppose. It either fertilize corruption or starve it. Now, I wanted a little bit of insight from you, Miss Kamay. What is your perception in values?
Hello, good day everyone. Values are invisible compasses of our lives. They quietly guide our decisions, shape our relationships, and influence the kind of society we build. They are not just abstract ideals because they show up in everyday choices we make. Whether we tell the truth, be neighbor, or stand firm against injustice. When values like honesty, compassion, and responsibility are strong,
they create trust and harmony. But when values are neglected, corruption, selfishness, and division take root. In the Filipino context, values are deeply tied to shared humanity, gratitude, and bayanihan. These cultural treasures remind us that values are not only personal but collective as they bind us together and give meaning to our struggles.
Okay, so, wow, thank you, Miss Kamay. Ultimately, values are the seeds of character. It is what we choose to uphold today that will grow into the kind of future we and our children inherit. Now that I am very enlightened of how values affect these issues we are facing today, I want to hear from you guys. What values do we need to uphold and to prevent these issues that we are facing today?
Hi, good day everyone. Before calamities strike, I believe that practicing discipline ensures that we take preparedness seriously. Joining drills, securing emergency kits, and following safety guidelines. Responsibility reminds us to care for our families and communities by planning ahead and reducing risks. Also, our respect for nature teaches us to protect the environment, since deforestation, pollution, and neglect often worsen the impact of disasters. Honesty and integrity guarantee that funds and projects meant for disaster prevention are used properly, not lost to corruption. And Bayanihan encourages us to build strong community ties even before danger comes, so that when calamities arrive, cooperation is natural and immediate. By living these values in advance, we don't just react to disasters, but we build resilience that lessens their damage and strengthens hope. After the calamity strike, which is what we are facing now, I believe that as Filipinos, the values we need to uphold are those that strengthens both our character and our communities. Bayanihan teaches us to work together and share resources, while pakikipagkapwa reminds us to show empathy and compassion to those most affected. Discipline ensures we follow safety protocols and preparedness measures, while respect for nature encourages us to care for the environment to lessen disaster risk. Honesty and integrity safeguard relief efforts from corruption, and perseverance with courage helps us rebuild despite losses.
Yes, and above all, faith sustains our hope and resilience. And by living out of these values, we may not stop disasters from coming, but we can prevent despair and division, ensuring unity and strength to rise above destruction. How about corruption?
Well, as Filipinos, the values we need to uphold to prevent corruption are those that strengthen integrity and collective responsibility. Honesty and integrity ensure that public funds and resources are used for the right purpose and not for personal gain. Commitment to justice remind us to hold leaders and ourselves accountable, refusing to tolerate wrongdoing. So, discipline helps us resist shortcuts and unethical practices, while concern for others keeps us mindful that corruption harms the poorest and most vulnerable. Community spirit empowers citizens to unite against abuse, and faith and moral courage sustain hope and guides decisions towards righteousness. By living these values daily in schools, workplaces, and communities, we create a culture where corruption cannot thrive, and where transparency, fairness, and service to the common good become the norm.
What a fruitful stand, Miss Denal. Indeed, values are powerful because they act as the moral compass that guides people to live with integrity, discipline, and compassion, which in turn helps prevent both the destructive effects of corruption and the vulnerability to calamities. When honesty and responsibility are upheld, resources meant for disaster preparedness are used properly, while respect for nature ensures that communities take care of the environment to lessen risks. Bayanihan also and empathy strengthens unity, yes, and making recovery faster and more resilient. And in this way, values do not stop storms or earthquakes from happening, but they prevent greater harm by fostering accountability, preparedness, and solidarity, ensuring that hope and strength rise above challenges. Wow, guys, I learned so much today from you. Now, for our last question, so this would be the last question because you are students, so this is your question, your last question. As students, how would you help Filipinos to have values through upholding the essence of ethics as the roots and resolve of everything?
As students, we can help Filipinos cultivate values by living and modeling ethics every day. Like practicing honesty and responsibility in schoolwork and through projects, speaking up against unfairness, and volunteering in community initiatives that teach bayanihan and stewardship of the environment. We will use our voice in social media responsibly to promote transparency and celebrate acts of integrity, join or organize disaster preparedness and civic awareness activities in our barangay, and hold leaders accountable through peaceful and informed participation. By turning abstract principles into concrete habits, such as showing respect, refusing shortcuts, and prioritizing the common good, by these will become living examples to inspire others and help root ethics at the foundation of a fairer, more resilient society.
Okay, so very inspiring. As students, living and modeling ethics every day turns abstract ideals into powerful, visible change. Using your voices and social media responsibly to promote transparency and celebrating integrity amplifies a very good example, while organizing disaster preparedness and civic awareness activities, like civic awareness related activities, it strengthens community resilience. When we refuse shortcuts, show respect, and prioritize the common good, we become living proof that values matter. Your small and consistent actions can inspire others. It can build trust and help root ethics as the foundation of a fairer and more resilient society. How about others?
Well, for me, as students, is to emphasize student leadership and everyday choices. As students, you can help Filipinos cultivate values by showing that ethics is not only about big decisions, but also about small, consistent acts of integrity. This means refusing to cheat in exams, respecting school rules, and treating classmates fairly. Because these habits build the foundations of honesty and justice in society. By organizing peer-led campaigns on environmental care, anti-bullying, or transparency in student council, you demonstrate that values are lived, not just taught. When young people lead by example, they inspire families and communities to see ethics as the roots of trust and resilience, proving that even small voices can resolve bigger issues like corruption and disaster vulnerability.
Okay, so wow, and I am very happy with the stand because I am also a long-time student leader way back in my high school days, and my legacy is to stand and fight for what is right through values. And therefore, I truly believe that a student, especially a student leader, should uphold ethics as the roots and result of everything, because it reminds us that values are not just lessons we memorize, but principles we live out daily. When we choose honesty and honesty in our leadership, fairness in our relationships, and responsibility in our communities, we show that integrity begins with small actions that grow into larger ones. And also by using our voices to promote transparency, joining initiatives to strengthen bayanihan, and caring for the environment, which can be one of the most important, we become examples of how values can protect society from corruption and prepare us for calamities. In this way, our commitment to ethics becomes both a personal guide and a collective strength, proving that the future of the nation rests on the values we practice today.
Therefore, it is visible that calamities and corruption in the Philippines are deeply tied to values and ethics. Disasters like typhoons and earthquakes test not only physical strength but also unity, compassion, and faith. While corruption undermines trust and safety by diverting resources away from the people, values such as bayanihan are essential, both before and after crisis, as well as interesting corruption.
Ultimately, values serve as the invisible compass of life, guiding everyday choices, shaping communities, and ensuring resilience. So that by living them out, especially as students and future leaders, Filipinos can build a fairer, stronger, and more hopeful society.
Indeed. As we end this, we choose the kind of nation we will become, not by speeches or headlines, but by the values we practice when no one is watching. Honesty over shortcuts, bayanihan over indifference, courage over fear, stewardship over neglect. Calamities may shake our ground and corruption may test our resolve, but they cannot break a people anchored in ethics. Let us be the generation that turns conviction into habit, habit into culture, and culture into hope. Character is destiny. If we want a future that is fair, resilient, and worthy of our children, then let integrity be our daily language, compassion for our constant rhythm, and accountability our shared promise. The work begins now with us together. Go. On my Ethica, Roots, and Resolve. Okay, thank you everyone. This is PODCAST Podcast.